Alright guys, what is up? Today we have a bit of a different video than normally. Today, instead of recording a game, not one of my own or another one, I'm going to take in a suggestion from one of the viewers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you my thought process when I'm making my battle groups. Now, I've played every faction, and I played basically every theme and whatnot, so I can't really say I played a lot of them, but the main thing that always kept me, the main faction that always kept me, was Shattered Peaks, and that's because I always liked the swarm play style. I always liked the idea of being like, you know what, you can kill that guy, I don't care, I'm just gonna send another one, and that's been like that actually for a very long time. And where that idea came from and why I've always liked that idea is actually from it's not an old game, because there's a newer version of it, but if you guys know the game Pikmin. There's a game called Pikmin for, I think back then it was for the GameCube, Pikmin 1, and I would always play that game in Target on the screen or in Best Buy, and I would always play that game, and I loved the idea of just having an army of little dudes that do my bidding, and how I'd just be like, go forwards, and they would do anything. If they died, it doesn't matter. I could just keep replenishing them. So I really liked that swarm play style, and I thought that was really fun how I could just move forwards and I wouldn't be touched. I would just have this like protection barrier of things protecting me. And then to go on with that, I really like insects. So whenever I saw like a swarm of ants like on YouTube and stuff, that would always like amaze me. Anyway, so that's why I always was kind of for Shatter Peaks. I also was at one point kind of for SL at the very beginning. It was for the IS, SL, and then SP, and SP kind of stuck with me. So that's where I am now. I mostly play SP, but I do dabble in basically every other faction as well. But now let's go into what my thought process is when I'm playing Shattered Peaks. Now, there are a few ways to play the game, and when I was younger, again, if I was playing a theme, let's just go to like here. I'm gonna just go over Shattered Peaks today. Actually, no. One more thing I'm gonna go over first is when you have battle groups. What I do, and you don't have to do it this way, but I found it to be pretty helpful. Is I see many people name their battle group some random name that they think is funny. I'm like, okay, that means the one time somebody will see it and think it's funny is when you post it to them, right? Other than that, it's kind of really just annoying because you have to scroll through all your other battle groups, right? Here you can see all the different battle groups I have, right? Way too many that if every single one of these had some interesting name, like for example, the Mecha, which actually I have one of his battle groups, right? It's made after him. What will happen is if it's just some random name like, die for your lord, and then he might know that it's for let's say the Zulos, but like if you're looking through 30 different battle groups, then you have to always remember, okay, what was it, like if I haven't played the battle for 2 weeks or whatever, what was that cool funny name I named it again? Like I find that, to be honest, kind of stupid. So what I do is the first thing I do, also what other people do, is they add the date when they made it, which is not a bad idea, because if you want to see how you have progressed in changing your battle group, it's not horrible. But then you would always have to make a new one, which is annoying, right? So what I do, like you can see here, is on the left. I hope you guys can read this. I'm not positive. But on the left, it says, you know what we should do? Do that. It says SP, right? So it says the faction it is. So that's kind of in alphabetical order in a way. So here's everything for FS, everything for Forsaken Waste, everything IS, right? Then if it's a split, I also have that in there. And then what I also do is if I think it's quite perfected, so if I think it's close to being the best it could be, not the best, then I put the word meta in front of it. So for example, if I just have FS Boghoppers, for example here, this is more of a test battle group where I might be testing different champions. Actually that's not the best example, whatever. But then because this one's actually pretty good. I think I have kind of perfected this one, but not fully. But then if I think it's done, like I say, if I've worked on it for like a week, 2 weeks, I don't think there's too much that I can still fix on it, then I'll put the word meta in front of it. So that just means I know which ones still need work. Like my witch bagger, for example, I don't think it's even done. Yeah, like this. Like I don't know if any of these champions are really the best of the best. Like, is this really how you should be playing? I have no idea. So there's no meta in front of it. So like you can see here, so here's just Uin Talgar, Markoth battle group. Here's just IS meta, and then here meta trolls. And then I might also have a battle group called Just Trolls. Yeah, exactly here. So here's IS Trolls and IS Meta Trolls. So the difference here is then that the Meta Trolls are the ones that I think I've gotten pretty good at, and I think this is a very good battle group. It's pretty perfected. While if it's Just Trolls, then it's not as perfected, right? You just have, there might be some testing battle champions that I'm testing in it. All right, so that was my first thing to say is when you're talking about it, or when you're making your battle groups, what to might maybe think of. Next, I'm gonna go back to this one. What was I looking at before? Let's just look at the meta battle group from Baller. So also what I do is if I find a battle group from someone else, here I can actually go through here. I'm just gonna go on to Pox battle groups. There we go. I actually have a folder which some actually has Rick and Morty in here for like no reason, but a folder with some of the battle groups that over time I found and I thought were pretty good. And I asked, if I ask someone, hey, could you send me the battle group? Because I might want to remake it someday. So I have loads of battle groups from people that have made them that I thought was really good. And that if somebody asks me for a battle group, then I can give it to them, right? So if somebody says, hey, what's a good Shattered Peaks Voil, then I can either send them mine or I can send them the one from Baller, right? So I can send them a very, pretty refined one. So that's why it's not a horrible idea to just have a battle group of pictures from people who have good battle groups, right? So here's like the Aurora. See, this is the thing. So I think this is from like either Etherealian or from Carnivore, and he's called it the Aurora Investigation, which like by its name you'll know what's in it. But if you have 50 other battle groups, finding this name will be hard. So yeah, loads of different battle groups that I have from different people. For example, I think this one's from Pox Junkie actually. So this is his Meta SL battle group, for example. So not a bad idea to just have them all saved somewhere, and you can just keep collecting them. It's not like they take up very much space. There you go. So back to this. Now this is the Meta SP battle group from Baller. Actually, I don't want to go over one of his because that's a bit hard. I'm gonna go over one of mine. Let's just say hyenas. Why not? This is pretty good. So now, when I make a battle group, I used to go into it like this. If I'm playing a theme, I would want every single rune in that battle group to be following that theme. So, for example, this Mika, this War Drummer, this Ritualist, I was like, no, they're not in theme. They're not hyenas. I can't have them. And when I was younger, I don't know why I had that. I thought it was just maybe because I had to stick in theme. I don't know the reasoning behind that anymore when I was younger. I just hated it. I just hated having any non-theme champions in it. But I would really highly suggest, if you're younger as well, because I don't know how old the viewers are that watch this, but if you're new to the game or if you're younger, try to get over that and don't do that, because that's what every single one of the better players does when they're making a battle group. And that's how Tiny Dragon does it as well. So either you can make a meta battle group with just the best of the best in the faction, right? Or if you're going to make a theme like this, don't make every single champion be 100% in that theme. So what that does is it allows you to cover the bases that the theme might not have, so that you can win games that you would lose otherwise because of an easy loss, right? Like an easy, oh, hey, I didn't have a counter to this. I just lose. And generally, back in the day when I played the game, I was like, hey, no, it should be like this. Every theme has its own thing. And to play against another theme, you have to find your own creative way to deal with what they have. And you don't just put these in, right? So, for example, let's say Dispel. I was like, you know what? I shouldn't have Dispel. I have to find in my theme a way to deal with a champion that is a super champ without Dispel. Just because, I want to be thematic and I find it interesting to try to always find a way to deal with my problem, but with my tools. But nowadays, I'm like, you know what? There's really no problem. There's really no reason for that because everybody else is doing it that way. And half the time, you still have to find your own way to deal with problems. Like if this doesn't come up by the time the super champ is at your door, you still have to find other way to deal with it. But this just allows you to win out through so many games where you're just gonna lose. Where really this one champion by itself can raise your win rate by like 5%. right? So if you're usually at like 30%, this will get you another 5%. And that's for one rune. And I think personally that each one of these 3 runes does that for me. So if I would say normally have a 50% win rate, no, let's say I would normally have a 50 to 60% win rate with this battle group, right? Because hyenas are pretty good. With these 3, I have another 20%, 15 to 20% just because of these 3 runes that really flesh out, you know, and like give you that extra oomph. So not only do they give you utility, like let's say here, Dispel, Spell Aegis. So this, if you know your opponent's spell spams a lot, like your Froggo, right? Froggo loves to play spells, AoEs. Then I just play this Ritualist because I know this way I'm going to be getting a lot of value from him. Next, I'm also going to be playing Mika really early just because of the spell resistance, right? So what he deals with, so I'm going to go over the 3 main champions for me. Basically, every battle group has these 3 champions. So the Cyclops Ritualist. First of all, magic damage. Magic damage helps with incorporeal champions, right? Anything that is a ghost, for example. Next, he deals very well with summons, right? You have the Ritual of Healing, Ritual of Power, Ritual of Destruction. These all have their own cooldown. So I can deal with so many summons so easily with this Ritualist. Then Dispel to deal with super champs. And then Spell Aegis to deal with if they're spell spamming. On top of all this, like I would play this champion by itself almost. On top of all this, he has, you know, for 65 Nora, which is very cheap, you have, you know, 8 damage, with 9 damage on with the War Banner, you're fine with that. 45 HP, 6 speed. So you can even attack if you need him to. And I've actually done quite a bit of damage with him sometimes because if you Ritual of Power something, plus War Banner, plus you're in the range of like a Battle Master, you have like 14 damage. So sometimes you actually, 4-5 range is, you know, fine. This is a pretty good range to deal with. So that's the first one. Second for me is the Cyclops War Drummer. I play this in every one of my battle groups because of 2 things. So when he comes out, you give everything the 6 max HP and the 1 damage. So that's 1 damage, then Battle Drum, that's an extra 3. So then you have 4 damage in the time that he comes out. That's amazing, first of all. And then again, you can play 5-speed champions way more efficiently with the War Drummer out because of the Vitalize. So, for example, in this Hyena battle group, the Hyena Ascendant has 5 base speed, but Intensify. And Intensify gives him 1 speed, but that doesn't mean that Vitalize doesn't work because Vitalize works on base speed. So, once my Hyena Ascendant actually ascends, so to say, he actually is at 7 speed then, which is insane, right? So yeah, War Drummer helps with the Vitalize. Second of all, Battle Harden, right? You get insane, like if they're moving in, you play this because then they either have to retreat or they have to be very scared of your retaliation. Or you play this when you want to go in within the next few turns, right? So this is a very strong champion. And then Battle Drum, obviously, for the AP. And then Knockback, why this is so strong is because it's a way to deal with, or a way to deal damage that's not an attack, right? So there's so many times where the enemy has some type of immunity or something weird and you can't kill it, so you just knock back and it does so much damage. Like this does 21 damage, right? Because you have 9 base. You do, okay, 50%, whatever, you do 5. With War Banner, you do 6, I think. I don't know. But yeah, let's say you do 5 damage plus knockback. You're doing 20 damage with this champion. That's actually a lot of damage, right? 20 damage is insane. And then, yeah, so very strong champion. And then obviously Attack Sonic, very good because it's an attack type that I think this is the least amount of champions have a resistance to Attack Sonic. And against Voil, you even have a advantage. So very strong champion. War Drummer is actually my favorite champion by itself as well. So this is my favorite champion in the game, as well as one of the main champions I put in every one of my battle groups. All right, so, and then third one is Mika. Let's see if it loads. Maybe. Hello. All right, let's just click it again, see what happens. There you go. So, Mika. Mika is, bar none, I would say the best support in the game. Maybe second, possibly. It gives you so much. 66 Nora is insanely cheap. You have one of the best summons in the game because it has 7 speed. It comes out with 5 AP. It does a good amount of damage. It's just insane. The summon fetch is insane. Weaken spells. So generally, SP always wants to kind of group up just because they have so many champions, right? They just forced to group up because, like I said, you're a spam faction, right? So you're grouping up a lot. So this really helps to negate any AoE spells. Grant Sonic Aura. This helps you deal with a lot of things. So this helps you deal with immunity, or not immunities, but impervious type stuff, like the Will of Kinartaris. It helps you deal with like high defense. You can also just summon the Fesh, run it in, and do Grant Aura. And if you hit 3 champions with this, you're doing loads of damage, right? You're doing 18 damage just by sending a summon Fesh in. It's like insane. And then obviously the heal mass. So you can just stay healthy. And with a bash, she actually is very tanky. She's very hard to one round. You can run her away, keep healing. And your AP is never really, wasted in a way. So very, very strong support for that healing, right? And I put this champion also in my aggressive decks. So for example, here, wait. It's actually also a deck that I've kind of perfected. So my electric deck is very aggressive, and I think generally you want to be very aggressive with them. But I still play Mika, as you can see. I still have Mika in there just because of the utility. And sometimes if you're attacking your enemy, you still want to somehow heal because it allows you to kind of keep pushing. So you don't want tons of healing in your battle group, but just little, just to say, you know what, you can't one-shot my enemy or my champion that's running in because I healed it up. So it just allows you to get that oomph to keep running, keep moving in. All right, so those are the champions that I have in every battle group. Those 3, I think they're essential for every Shattered Peaks battle group, if you want to play at the higher ranks, let's say. Now, Baller and a few others have a few other champions that they think are also kind of needed for every champion. That is maybe the General and the Quarry. But I'm not going to talk about those because I don't agree that, like, at least for a theme battle group, I don't think you need these 2. In a meta battle group, sure. But for themed, I think General and the Whirling Quarry aren't fully needed. Alrighty then. So yeah, those are the 3. Now let's go over the spells and relics and equips that I have basically in each one of my battle groups. Not 100%, but in a lot of them. Let's see. So Avalanche is in every single one of my battle groups, actually. This one I have in every battle group in SP. It's insanely good. It is one of the earliest, Shattered Peaks expansion is the first spell that Shattered Peaks got, is this thing, and it's still amazing. And I think it's never changed. It's that good. It's 45 Nora, but it does 10 damage. If it's physical damage, which you would be surprised at how nice that actually is. Because so much stuff actually has like immunity to non-physical things. Like if they have mirrored or like something else weird, physical damage is actually really nice. It does knockback, so not only can you deal that 15 damage, this is a 15 damage AoE spell then possibly. Because you can knock back champions into a wall, for example. Or into each other, and then you're doing even more. You're doing like 20 damage. So yeah, knockback, physical damage, and a really good AoE. So this is a very good spell. At least I always have at least one of these in there. And where this also helps is to like move an enemy into range of something you need, right? Or to move a champion into a trap if you're playing Moga. Because Avalanche, the next thing you're always going to need if you're playing full faction is Tribal Post, but I'm not going to go over that because why would I? And then Vertical Push. Always need a Vertical Push because it's... First of all, it can grant you some early wins just by itself, but also it allows you to deal with super champs, right? It does loads of damage, so 20 damage. It removes them from play, so if they have an equipment on their champion, it removes that as well, so it's almost worth it just for that. So it's like, let's say, imagine they just have, let's say, a 20 to 30 Nora relic on their champion, you just VP it. Then for 55 Nora, you're doing 20 damage and you're removing a relic. Or an equipment. So if I take the equipment cost away, let's say 30 Nora, this is then a 25 Nora spell that does 20 damage. And it causes the enemy to be gone for a turn. Like, that's insane. That's extremely insane. Yeah, so I almost played 2 of these, but I actually don't, just because I feel like it's maybe a bit OP. It's kind of like playing 2 Drown. Kind of just like, really? But yeah, no, VP is very strong. Now, a few things. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Let's see. I don't know. So yeah, those are the spells and relics that I always have. Oh yeah, also Distract is basically, not in 100%, but in like 90% of my battle groups is Distract, because to deal with supports, it's super cheap, and you just can make it so your enemy can't go all in or something. So if they have, for example, a champion with War Drum or Battle Drum, I did this against Nepion not too long ago. I just played this spell, and then he couldn't move in because he couldn't War Drum, right? And he couldn't use his abilities to like move in and kill something. And And it's very cheap. So even if they use a cleanse on it, usually you're ahead in Nora. So if you're using this and then they use a cleansing storm, then you're 25 Nora ahead because cleansing storm is 45 Nora. I've used peak tactics a lot, but I guess I don't go over that. And yeah, that's about it. So now I'm gonna go over, let's say, because I don't know how long this video is going, but I think I've said a lot already. I'm gonna go over 2 of my battle groups that I think I've kind of perfected. They're pretty close. At least they're very good, I think. I don't know. And that is my Slag battle group and my Moga battle group. So, all right. So this is why my what would you call it? My Amadra, my I don't know what you would call this. One of my perfected battle groups. It looks kind of strange because you don't have too many attacking champions. You only really have the Caustic Slag and the Voltaic Slag. Everything else is kind of passive damage. This kind of just walks around. This kind of just walks around, and these kind of just are there for the ooze tap. Other than that, it's really just based around getting 6 champions on the board. So you want this on the board. You want this on the board. You want this on the board. You want this obviously replicating, and then oh wait, this is the wrong one. Lol, I've been showing you guys no, this is the right one. Where am I? Oh yeah, no, it's right. I didn't see it. Okay, yeah. So Extracker, Mika, Hanging, Oozing, and then anything to support them. And if you get these guys out, these 1, 2, 3, 4 champions out, you're kind of winning already if they haven't moved in yet. And once you have this thing replicating at least twice, so once this thing replicates twice, and is at full HP, then for 56 Nora, with War Banner, obviously, you have 200 HP. So that means you have 200 HP if this splits twice and is healed to full with War Banner out. And that's at that point, you have so much extra HP that you shouldn't have that you can really just move in and win the game. And what you have to be able to do that without your enemy rushing you is you have 2 consume resources. So if they're moving in, you can just consume resources and stay back. You don't have to go for the middle font. And then because you have Deep Cave Extractors, the percentage value or the ratio value of extra Nora you're making is insane, or is so good that, or so far ahead of them that you're going to be charging ahead in champions, especially because you're SP as well. So you play one of these, or 2 of them even if you're lucky. You can play 2 of these, go to the mid font, have them go to the mid font. So right now I'm thinking, for example, of the let's say Elemental Plateau, right? You send this champion bot. Also with the Extractor, you can 2-turn deploy often, turn 2. So you send this first top, this bot. He moves to top font. He deploys or whatever. Then he's at the bottom font. He's in the middle font. You get one more turn of just deploying things. Then he starts going in on your Hanging Slag. Then what you can do is either just leave the Hanging Slag there because it's very hard to kill it. Or if you think you're in danger, you just retreat, you play Consume Resources, and you just group them up. Then all of a sudden, they have one champion that would either have to go all the way toward your enemy, to your champions, to keep pushing, or he just retreats himself because he just lost his fonts. He can't, what am I saying? He can't keep pushing. So then you, all of a sudden, that's 3 turns. They're like, okay, I'm going to go in now because now I have the advantage because they're about to get the font back. But then you just play the next one. And then all of a sudden, all right, they're like, okay, I'll wait until that spell is gone. And then boom, you have 2 Hanging Slags who both replicated. You have this guy out, you have this guy out, you have this guy out. You're about to War Drummer out, you have a Hanging, and they're like, wait, when did this even, I had no chance in even moving forwards because there was this giant Slag army just waiting there, right? And then you win the game. So that's how this Slag works. I really like this battle group, a lot of fun. Sadly, though, you can't play it too much just because what happens, it's kind of funny, is when you have too many Hanging Slags out and when you have too much Sludge Pool. Also, when you have too much Sludge Pool, the game just lags, and then your enemy will mostly likely just, get DC'd, so it's not too fun. And in late game, you can do Strength in Numbers. That gives you, here, let's see if it loads. It gives you 1 HP and 1 damage and defense for every champion of the same race. And because you have so many of these little dudes out by the end, let's say you have 8 and 8, right? Let's give an average of, all right, 8. Let's get average of 6. So 6 of these, 6 Oozing Slags, because you have, let's say, one guy replicated twice and the other guy replicated what? Actually, no, 8 makes sense. Yeah, let's do 8. So let's 8 Oozing Slags. So it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you have 13 champions out generally by mid-late game. because you have one caustic, one extractor, if not two, one hanging, 6 of these or so, and then 1 of these. So by that time, you're getting 13 extra HP from this. You can play the War Drummer to get extra 6, and you just move in, and you have like 80 HP or 70 HP on all of your champions. So this is my Oozing Slag battle group. It's very fun and very annoying to play against for sure, especially if your enemy is good at it. And the next one I'm going to be telling you guys about is this one by popular demand by one person. Is my meta battle group. My Mega, what am I saying? Moga battle group. I think I've kind of perfected this one now. It's pretty close. There might be like 1 or 2 things I could change, but I'm liking this a lot. So again, we have our 3 champions that we always have: Ritualist, War Drummer, Mika. And I'll just go through everyone. So Durg, extremely good beater. With throw axe, so you can do a ranged attack, and because you have surge, you often are at like 17 damage. So when you throw axe, you're throwing axe for like 17 damage. So it's really strong. Tough and evasive 1. I think that's best. I don't like my champions very expensive in SP. Because like I could do them like this, right? It's a 90 Nora. I'm not playing a 90 Nora Durg, I don't like that. The reason I like my champions very cheap is because that makes them less susceptible to spells in a way. Because if you play a high value champion and then they are just killed instantly through a spell, then you've wasted a lot of Nora. So I don't like that generally. So yeah, Hero also is just a very good ability because it gives you the Iron Will. Yeah. So hard to kill. You have 3 base defense, right, with the tough. You have evasive rank 1. Throw axe, loads of damage. You have pretty good base stats, right? Actually very good base stats. So just a very solid beater. You can almost play him in meta as well. If it wasn't for the Hinded Flame Fist, I would probably play the champion in meta as too. All right. Just like meta Shatter Peaks. All right. Next is the Gerhard Birth Mother. I like the Birth Mother. Again, this is, look, 5 speed. So many of the Gerhards are 5 speed. So the Birth Mother, the Overlord, as well as the Thrower are all 5 base speed. Let me see here. So what that means is my Vitalize from the War Drummer gives them 6 speed. So that means I'm getting... I would cost 1 speed at like 4 to 5 Nora. Maybe. Yeah, 4 to 5 Nora? Sure. So that means I'm gaining 20 Nora of like, or 15 Nora at least of like abilities just by giving these champions speed. If I get in all 3 of them, obviously. But even though you get on 1 champion, that's 5 Nora that I just get for free. Yeah. So the Gurren Birth Mother I like because 1, it has magical attack, which you kind of often need against ethereal champions, right? Then you also have the Guarded, which gives you even more power turn ability. And I often have found, usually people can play around this, at least good players, but even them, they don't, what you do is you're forcing them to play around this, right? Which is in itself useful. So often what you kind of hear is like, hey, Guard Moga is not very good because they have to attack to even set this off. While if they're good, they'll just use other ways of killing you, like a spell or AoEs. But you're just forcing them to do that if you play Guarded. So I really like Guarded over Gift of Fertility. It doesn't even make sense to play this other than if you want 2 less Nora. So Guarded is very good, and then obviously Overseer, and it's also the only ability. Summon is also good because it gives you extra Surge and champions to put like AoEs on, or you can consume them with some of the other Gearhorn. So I do like Summon Moga as well, so good champion. The only thing that sucks is it costs 1 turn basically because it costs 5 AP and you get 5 AP a turn. So, but yeah, even late game you can get quite a bit of damage because of the Surge. So I've got her at like late game 18, 19 damage as well. More of a support, but it's just like just an Overseer champ that just like is solid in my opinion, especially with that Guarded. So nice. And like I said, you need a lot of magic damage. You don't really have that in this battle group. All right, so the Gerhard in general, very good. I used to actually, oh my god, I hated this champion for a long time in Moga because I played Hunter Meek. And I was like, you know what, I don't like it because every time I get him out, I can't play my Moga yet because I still have Gerhard bound. And I have to play the Designate Flag Bearer because that's what gives the Overseer. But you can actually do Overseer on him. I totally forgot that you could do that. I never even thought about that. So yeah, I definitely go Overseer Moga on him just so that you can play him turn 1 and not feel bad, right? You actually feel fine if you do this. Second of all, I go Battlemaster rank 2. I don't like 3 makes him cheaper, but what rank 2 does is it means you can give Battlemaster over a 2v2 champ. So if you have a 2v champ in front of you and you need an extra tiny bit of damage, you can move the Gerhard General right next to the 2v2, and you'll over the like even if the 2v2 is right in front of you, there's still a space where you can give one of your champions the extra damage. Especially because you don't always want to be as clustered as you might have to be. That's why it's also good to have Battlemaster rank 2. You could go 3 as well for the 4 spaces. I'm not against that a lot, but it does make him 81 Nora, and like I said, I like my champions pretty cheap, so I think 78 is a very good place to put him. Quite tanky because of bold. Designate Flag Bearer is insane. It's one of the best abilities there are, just because you get improved speed and evasive. So that means, especially in a Voil, this is insane, because then all your Voil have evasive 3, which is crazy. But it just gives you loads of like staying power on a font. You can just chill on a font, and they can't kill you because you have evasive and everything, and you have tons of healing. All right, let's just turn my sound off. 1 second. All right. So yeah, very strong Gerhard. Soothsayer is one of my test champions so far. I've kind of liked him. Good range. It is an Overseer, which is good. You have a good different like attack type, which is nice. I have so many attack types in this battle group when I think about it. I have Sonic, Physical, Magical, Psychic, Fire, Sonic again, Diseased. Holy cow, I didn't even think about that. All right. Premonition is okay. So that if you're going in, or if your enemy is going in, you can play this, so they can't play any abilities on you. So for the Premonition, it's not horrible. He's also just distracting blows can be nice. You don't really need detection because you have 2 other champions with it, and I don't like Hex because it makes him more expensive. But yeah, distracting blows can be nice. If you're against a enemy who, like, if they have a support and you don't feel like playing distract, and then Surge Moga obviously, because it gives you late game also like 15 damage, right? And you could go multi attack. I've been like thinking about either of them, but I think I like Surge more. But I haven't fully tested the other ones. But 7 base damage with multi-attack seems a bit strange. I think I'd rather just have the extra damage, because then I can move in, attack once, and retreat. While with this, you're basically always double tapping. And double tapping for 7 is kind of weird, you know? So yeah, I think this is a pretty good champion. Did I go over the Overlord? I think I skipped it. Overlord, very strong. Again, you get that 6 speed. What's good about the Overlord, and why I think you should always go grappling hook and not pull. First of all, pull is more expensive. Relocate ally is 3 AP as well. I actually haven't tried this, but the reason I really like grappling hook is because on the IS map, to get to the top font in 2 turns, you need either 7 speed, teleport, or grappling hook. Grappling hook is only 3 AP, so it's actually worth an 8 speed movement in a way. So because it costs, you go 5 spaces, but for 3 AP. So with this ability, you can, on the IS map, get their turn 2. So really just for that ability almost. But also because it's a pull, it works really well with the traps in SP or in Moga. While if I did the actual ability pull, it costs 5 more. So it gives you the ability to pull, it gives you the ability to move quicker, and yeah, it's just, I think it's better in basically every way. It's like a teleport, a 3 turn teleport rank 2, or it's a pull, or yeah, it's just good. Just good. Surge Moga, you have to pick it. Unstoppable is very strong on him, and again, you can get 6 speed. It's also quite tanky. You're at 61 HP with the War Banner, and you have 2 defense, so it's pretty nice. Thrower I really like, because this makes you have the most insane threat range. It is crazy how big your threat range, and not just to deal damage, but to kill. So what you can do is you can throw your pulling champion. So you throw a champion with a harpoon on it, you pull it 3 spaces, then you have another champion behind it that pulls it again, so then you can pull 6 spaces, and then possibly even use this, that'd be 8 spaces in all, but whatever. So that's 6 spaces of movement that you can bring them closer into 4 traps. That's 38 damage if you have 4 traps on that space. So that's very strong. So I really like the thrower for that. Also, thrower is really good because you can play him kind of near your beginning place, like near your mid font, or your not your mid font, but like your first font, and just keep sending Moga really quickly into the fight. So this really helps with like letting you be a turn ahead, because you can keep throwing your champions ahead, right? You can keep throwing your champions to be ahead of the curve. Like basically, if you think about this, this is 3 AP for you to save 5 AP on one of your more needed champions, right? This champion is only there to do this, so this is definitely worth it. It's every turn as well. You have Overseer rank 2 and then Mountaineer. Actually, I've never gone the other thing, but it's probably better just because it costs less, so Mountaineer is pretty good. Now, here, this is actually one of those champions that I just started using, and I kind of like him a lot for one reason, really. So first, I didn't like him as an idea because he was too expensive, 82 Nora, and I don't really like I said, I had a lot of other Gerhern I was trying. I have him here. Let's see. Let me check the other Gerhern I was trying out. I was trying out the Juggler, the Punisher, the Pyro for a very little bit of a time, and the Destroyer. I still really like this Destroyer, and I'm really sad I don't use him more because he's actually really solid. But there's one reason the Tyrant is so good. Like, usually I would play, like, in a 1v1, I would always go for a Destroyer. Because look at these stats. Look, 56, so one extra HP, 1 extra defense, only 1 less speed, and 3 extra damage, right? You get knockback 3 and power attack 3. Here you have resilient, but it's like, enrage 1, You have the surge, I guess, which is nice. But here, you're just like 20 Nora less as well, right? So it's just insane how much, like in a normal game, I'd probably play always Moga Hung Destroyer. But there's one reason I'm really liking the Tyrant at the moment, and that's because Moga are extremely ability reliant. You really need this bastion of will. So what this does is this champion cannot be charmed, possessed, or distracted. And that's the biggest thing, distracted. So if you know your enemy has something that can distract you, like a spell such as distract or inhibit power, or I don't know, there's a plethora of spells in the game that can cause distracted, and you know you need abilities because that's how you get your kills. You have the double trapper for the pull kills. You have the recruiter. This is one of the best combos in the game, really. I'll say it in a sec. You have the chefs with heal, right? You have heal mass on these guys. And you have so many abilities that you're always using. So you really need your abilities for that. So you can't become distracted. That's really the only reason I played the Tyrant is for that Iron Will. But he's also like a solid tank by himself too. And I think Moga in general just need more tanks. So he's pretty solid. You can 1-2 range is fine. You can attack over something, which is good, like I said. And you have 7 speed. So he's okay. He's not, I mean, I would like him more if he had maybe like, oh dude, if he had, I don't even know what I would want more, but I just want the Bastion of Will. That's all I want. Actually, let me see. I think, does he have Bastion of Will? No, he's Bastion of Courage. See, that's so useless. He has Bastion of Will, but that's 4 Nora. So then he's also 82 Nora for Drive, Declare Target, with like shitty stats. Like, do I want, I guess I could try. Drive is a pretty good ability. Maybe I do this, actually. I never thought about this. Same Nora, but then Drive, Declare Target versus Drive, Declare Target. I could do that. He's a better support then. Because he has Drive, Declare Target versus Resilient and Rage and this kind of stuff. All right, I might try that. All right, then I haven't tried him yet, and now in retrospect, I might. Because Drive is a really good ability. I've never even thought about that. All right, I'll do that. I'm going to try that out too. Yeah, so good champs all around. Chef, you have healing, and you have the heal mass and disease breath, so very good. Kind of bad base stats, but with a battle drum and stuff and all the other upgrades you can get, he's actually pretty solid. And really just heal mass. It just allows you to heal mass constantly. Disease breath means you have a non-attack damage, right? These guys get to 8 range with burn, and then they have 15 damage. So this is an insane champion. This is like a Arrow Singer for 47 Nora, right? 47 Nora. That's like a spell for a champion that does what Arrow Singer does. That's insane. Guard is I wish I could play 2. I don't have the space, but the Simon is so strong. Even by itself, without the Dirk's Guard, by itself is fine. Look at this: 48 health, 3 defense, 6 speed, 7 damage, tough 1, Gerhern bound, block and charge. Right? This is just super tanky. With the Guard, you have 3 extra damage and 5 HP. This is then more than 1-to-1 ratio with Warbanner. More than 1-to-1 ratio with 3 defense. It's insane. Like, this guy is so tanky. And he gets bodyguard, which is cool. So if I had more space in this game, thing is you always need quite a bit of Gerhern, because if you don't get one early, you'll like lose the game because you'll just be sending Moga. So I might think of, I can't take any of these out though. It's just, yeah, you need the 2 recruiters, you need these guys. Anyway, so one of the strongest abilities in the, I'm getting so thirsty right now. Holy cow. One of the best abilities in this game combos is this. You go Moga recruiter. You have your whole, all your champions doing stuff, right? Then you play Battle Him, which gives all friendly champions. It's not faction or not race based. It's all friendly. So you give all friendly champions Revere, so 2 AP. And then because Battle Drum then you deploy the War Drummer. So first you play War Drummer, then you play the Revere thing, then you can play Battle Drum because this costs 2 AP. So in one turn, you can gain 3 AP, 5 damage, because this is 1 damage, I believe. Yeah, this gives you 1 damage. And the Battle Drum gives you 3, but plus the Battle Harden gives you 1. So that's, yeah, exactly. It's a lot. This combo is insane. Yeah, and then I play 1 consumer resources just to slow the game down. So if my enemy is going for the mid font and I can't, contest, I just do this, then I hold back. Yeah, and then everything else is basically self-explanatory if you read what they do. Obviously, 2 harpoons, just because you really want those kills with the trapper. Anyway, so that's it. I haven't actually thought about the Tyrant, though, but I might trade that out. I do like the 7 speed, and I like how tanky he is, but having drive and declare target seems fun. So we'll try that out. Anyway, so there you go. Those are my SP champions and my SP thoughts, and have a nice day.